You're listening to
the Beer O'Clock,
the Beer O'Clock Show.
You're listening to the Beer O'Clock Show.
It's Beer O'Clock and this is the Beer O'Clock Show. My name is Mark, and joining me as always is my beer buddy Steve. Hello Steve.
Hi Mark, how you doing?
I'm alright mate, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Very good. Joining us on yet another listener comes in and gives us beer. It is an old friend of the show. Good old Sparkyrite. Hello Sparky.
Good evening lads. Oh, let me just shut the window.
There's an introduction and a half.
Quiet lads. Oh, once they start, you just can't stop them. Sorry lads. Evening, how are you?
Very well, how are you?
All good, thanks.
Very good. You have suggested two beers for us for this show. They're both from Mad Dog Brewery, who I believe are near you, or from Wales?
Yeah, they're about 10 miles away from me, so yeah, my brewery.
We've got the It's All Propaganda Black IPA, and we've got the All Day Granola Stout. So we're going to get to those in just a little bit. But before that, what have you been drinking in the last week or so? Sparky, let's start with you, mate. What have you been drinking that's of interest?
Well, I've had 2 or 3 big beers, I suppose, 2 headline beers. Because obviously Wales have been playing, so every time that Wales win, I sort of open a big beer. I'm just checking my Untapped now. I should have been played a bit more, but there we go. I've had the Saison 28 from Weird Beard.
Okay.
That's a 10.2 double IPA. That was very nice. What else did I open the other day? It's the thing when you drink so much, obviously responsibly.
It's difficult to find the standout ones on the Untapped list, isn't it? There needs to be almost a secondary list where you can star them and say these have been the standout beers.
Yeah. I had the Brooklyn and the Thornbridge collab.
Was that the Serpent?
Yeah.
What did you think of that? Because I had a little taster at the weekend, and jury's still a little bit out for me on that one.
Yeah, I was a little underwhelmed with it, to be honest. It was a bit cidery, a bit thin. I think a bit of aging would have helped.
Yeah.
I would suggest if anybody's got one that they would hang on to it a little while, just to give it a bit more. But no, I mean it was perfectly drinkable, but I was just expecting a bit more of everything, really.
It's a big old bottle as well. If you've done that on your own.
Yeah. I mean, I opened it at the end, and I sort of finished it off the next day. I didn't do the whole bottle in one night, but no, it's I don't know. It's like you say, the jury's still out. I don't think I'd rush back to get another one, but I don't know.
Anything else?
I've still been going on the Odyssey Brewing Hop Fiend. I think that's my favourite dipper that's been released this year. Out of all the big ones, I think that's my favourite at the moment. That's well worth searching out if you can get hold of that.
Okay.
Oh, it's one to keep my eyes open for then. It's not one that I've come across just yet.
No, I mean, I think they ride up your street, Steve, to be honest, because they hop their beers to within an inch of their lives.
Brilliant. That's what I love.
Yeah. And not so much for you, Mark, but unfortunately I don't think they do any barrel-aged stuff, so...
Oh, good.
I think you might be a little bit disappointed there.
Keep it up. How about you, Stevie?
Just a couple of standouts that I'm going to mention. It's been a very beery week this week because we had our second annual bottle share barbecue gathering, and there was about 12 of us, and there was a fuck ton of beer to get through. So I'm not going to go through all the beers that we drank there, but standout ones that I've had in the run up to that. I had a pint of N1 by Hamerton Brewery on cask, and it was tasting absolutely banging. That was in the Old Fountain, mate, somewhere that's quite close to your heart, I know.
Yep.
Also managed to be a case of being in the right place at the right time last Tuesday evening, as I was in the Draft House in Old Street again, just as they put on the new Beavertown and Boneyard collab, the Bloody Notorious, which is a blood orange double IPA. It's basically the big bastard brother of Bloody Hell. 9.2%, but drinks like fucking orange juice, mate. It's just unbelievable. And I believe we might be doing that for this month's Flavour of the Month as well, so people might want to keep their ears open for that one. Anything else of note that stood out? No, just all really good beer this week. Those are probably the two real standouts for me in my beery week. What about yourself, mate? Have you had anything this week?
I have, but nothing too interesting. Do you remember we got sent a can of Spitfire Gold?
Oh yeah.
From the holidays, I finally got through that. That's pretty drinkable. That's quite nice.
Yeah, it's not too bad, is it? For what it is, it's kind of exactly what you expect it to be.
Yeah, it's better than Spitfire. It's a bit more drinkable. Which didn't really say much, let's be honest.
Don't mince your words, mate.
And what else did I have? I can't remember what else I had, other than went out last night with the missus to the cinema with Prince Charles in Leicester Square, and they do craft beer behind the bar. Which I
nice.
So I got a can of Gamma Ray while I was watching the flicks. So
quality. Cool. Yeah. Onto a winner there then, weren't you?
I'll be going back there again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, let's get into this week's beer. Our first beer that is up and recommended by Sparkyrite. It is the Black IPA with Sriracha Ace and Kazbek from Mad Dog Brewing Company, called It's All Propaganda. Sparky, tell us, why did you choose Mad Dog, other than their being close to you, and these two beers in particular? Well, let's talk about this beer.
Yeah, well, obviously I chose them because they're local. I've met Alexis, the owner and brewer there, a couple of times, been to the brewery. He started off on his own. He's just recently put some investment in, so he's just employed a couple of people as well, and upgraded all his kit. So he's just, when I met him, he's really passionate about his beer. So yeah, that's why I sort of chose him, just to get his beers out there a little bit more, on your show, and that's pretty much why I chose him. Yeah.
Cool. Well, it pours nice and smooth. This propaganda is 5% ABV, bottle conditioned. What are we getting off it, lads? Mine's maybe a bit too cold, so I'm not getting that much. I'm getting very slight coffee off it though.
I am. I'm getting a slight creaminess off of it. Mm-hmm. Hints of coffee, maybe a little bit of chocolate in there, which is interesting considering it's a black IPA. Getting none of what you would associate being the normal aromas, as in either pine or really dark roasted.
Yeah.
But it's all incredibly well balanced, and it works.
Got quite a sweet nose, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's a very sweet nose, and I'm just wondering whether that's the sriracha coming through on it, because that's quite a distinctive aroma from that hop, and I'm just wondering if that's kind of overpowering everything else that's in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and get a little bit of coconut, maybe. I know it's not your favourite taste.
I was going to say, really? So in the first 10 minutes, mate, you've had a go at Mark about double IPAs and barrel aging, and now you're starting with me on the coconut.
You've been waiting years for this.
Yeah, remind me again why we invited you on this show.
Yeah, maybe you sound regretted now. All those years of tweeting me abuse, there we are. Home back time.
Right, well, let's get into this one, guys. So, it's all propaganda. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Oh, that's quite boozy. It's got a real aniseed middle to it.
Yeah, I think that the sriracha's coming through on the flavour. Quite strong. There's hardly any bitterness in there, so to speak. All the flavour is up front in the middle, and then it just kind of it just fades away to a very, very easy finish.
Yeah, the bittery burn is just very much on the edges, It's not overpowering, but you are left with the sriracha aniseed mouthful, for me anyway.
Yeah, it's all the sriracha, isn't it? It's smooth and...
It is quite smooth for such bold flavours. It's pretty drinkable.
I was actually very surprised when the beers came through, because Sparky sent these through to us. So some massive thanks, Sparky, for sending the beers over. But I was really surprised that it was only 5%. It's that's quite a low ABV in this day and age for a black IPA, isn't it?
Yeah, almost sessional, isn't it?
Well, it is. Yeah, at that percentage, it's absolutely sessionable.
I'm not sure how many. I mean, even at 5%, it stands up and it holds. The label has a black skull on it with wings. It's kind of what you can expect. It's like a mouthful of death, but in a pleasant way.
That is a mark.
Oh, I can just see the tweets coming in now on that one, mate. Mark quotes.
But do you get what I mean? It's like really strong, powerful, dark flavours, but it's also incredibly drinkable and easy.
I do get what you're saying. The mouthfeel it's completely dark. That's what it feels like. Mm-hmm. You know you're drinking something quite dark. There's probably more. This is probably more on the side of the roasted black IPA more than on the piney hoppy black IPA.
Yeah, definitely.
Because if you leave it for long enough, you do start to get a bitterness in your mouth. There's kind of a slight film like you'd get after a swig of coffee, and that just hangs around. Like I say, there's a bit of aniseed, maybe a bit of licorice in there as well, just all coming through. But yeah, it does feel very dark. So I'm not sure it's one that you'd be able to session.
No, it's like a mouthful of burnt toast with lemon juice drizzled on it.
I feel like you've been saving these up, mate.
Yeah. What were the days when you said it used to just taste like beer? What were the days? The good old days.
It's all because Sparky's here. I'm inspired.
Brilliant.
So, while we're finishing this off, Steve, do you have any news for us, buddy?
Yes, mate. Just a few bits this week. It's been a bit of a slow news week, so hardly inspiring news what you're about to get. But here goes. Some Fuller's pubs. They've got a range of pubs called Ale and Pie pubs. Mm-hmm. They're going to be serving breakfast now. So they're going to be open from early in the morning, and you can buy breakfast in there. So if you're ever near one of those, probably worth a stop for a bite to eat in the morning. Some new beer news from Brewdog, who have this week released their latest incarnation of the Paradox series, which is right up your street, mate, whiskey cask aged imperial stouts. This one's been aged in Islay whiskey barrels, which would make it quite peaty in the flavours. Also released this week was Mashtag 2016 as well, which is ended up being a triple sour cherry IPA. I'm not rushing out to try that one, to be honest with you. And then finally in this week's news, Magic Rock have announced that they're putting a new beer into cans. They are going to be canning their Common Grounds, which is the triple coffee porter that they released just at the tail end of last year. The cans look stunning.
Are they black?
They're black and brown, and they just look so good. I'm just going to buy a shit ton of them just for the cans. But they'll be out in a few weeks, and I'm guessing just to time with last week's news where we spoke about the Magic Rock Bike Day, and they said there was going to be an unreleased can, as yet unannounced can. I'm guessing they'll be releasing that to coincide with that. So keep your eye out for that. Like I say, hardly the most inspiring news this week. I must try harder to find news for next week's show.
Any final comments on this propaganda?
No, I've nearly done with mine.
Is this one that you've had regularly, mate?
Yeah, I mean, as much as I have any beer sort of regular, I do like to try new beers all the time. But yeah, I've had this several times.
Really laces the mouth, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. It's almost become it's becoming a little bit sticky towards the end.
Yeah.
And as I'm working my way through it, the bitterness is certainly coming through more towards the end of the glass.
Yeah. But lovely burnt toasty flavours in there, and a little bit of licorice, a little bit of aniseed. 5%, you're going to get your money's worth from this, because it definitely tastes like you're drinking a bigger beer. But it doesn't leave that kind of heaviness that you get from some quite weighty black IPAs.
No, it's very light, and it's very light on body, which kind of probably adds to its drinkability and that sessionability that we were talking about.
Yeah. So, are we ready for the next one, guys?
I've just poured it, so I'm ready to go. Yeah.
Another beer.
Now I'm quite excited about this one.
So this is the all day granola stout, which also has nuts in it.
Yep, it's
Sesame seeds and flaked almonds. So people with allergies, beware of this.
It's basically got the ingredients that you would get in a granola bar in there, which is. I didn't check the ingredients first of all when the bottles came through, and I just thought it was like a gimmicky name. And then I checked the ingredients and was like, oh, okay, so it's basically a granola bar and a stout.
Yeah.
Not sure. I'm already, before even trying it, the jury's out as to whether this is going to work or not. But we'll see. This could be a challenging beer. This one.
Well, I'm straight away getting kind of nutty, cereally aromas from it, which is quite interesting. I'm wondering if the flaked almonds have had their oils, or if that's all coming through on the aroma.
It's certainly an interesting concept. I'm looking forward to tucking into this one, actually.
Well, let's wait no more. All Day Granola Stout, 6.8% from Mad Dog Brewery. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Okay.
That's quite nutty. Very smooth, quite light though. Especially after the propaganda.
Yeah, there's... the first thing I'm picking up is a little bit of vanilla in there.
Okay.
I'm getting some toasted flavours. Here again, just a hint of bitterness. Not getting a lot else at the moment, but as I was explaining to you guys before we come on air, had a bit of a craft wanker foul tonight and forgot to get the stout out of the fridge. So it's been sat wrapped in a hot water bottle for the last 10 minutes or so to try and bring it up to temperature. So I'm hoping that's not had too much of an impact on the flavours.
Well, just cup it in your hands while Sparky tells us why he chose this beer. So, where you go, Sparky?
Yeah, again, this one I've had a couple of times. It's just a solid stout. There's plenty of toasted notes in it. I quite like the sort of dark fruity, nutty edge to it. It's not heavy for a stout, like you say, Mark. It's quite light for a stout, mostly. Yeah. I mean, I know Alex has had problems brewing this one going forward because he can't get hold of, because he uses organic granola to brew it with. He can't get hold of enough to brew it again, so it's on a bit of a hiatus at the moment.
Okay.
I know this might sound like I'm taking the piss again, but he was thinking of barrel aging this. He was going to brew it, but then he had problems with his brew equipment being installed, and he's just not got enough time to brew it, to give it the time to. He wanted to get it ready for Christmas this year, but he just hasn't got the time now. So unfortunately, it won't be. I know you'll be sad to hear.
Yeah, what a shame.
No, I'm genuinely gutted because that would work. That this has got fantastic flavours. For me, what it's missing is kind of maybe a slightly sweet, slightly boozy edge to it, which I think barrel aging would absolutely bring to it. And this would almost turn it into a perfect Christmas drink if this was barrel aged.
Yeah. Yeah.
Surprisingly, I will disagree with you because I think there's enough barrel-aged stouts out there. If this had the nutty profile of it just raised a little bit more, so it could almost be like a peanut butter stout, I think it would be exemplary.
There's certainly some interesting flavours in there. That's got to be said.
Yeah, I mean, not much bitterness, not much roastiness even. It's just very light roastiness. Quite creamy, quite smooth.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sit in your guts like some stouts do. It doesn't sit in your mouth. The filminess that we got from the propaganda isn't present in the stout, which is quite pleasant. I don't know if I would like two filmy beers straight after one another.
No.
That'd be quite a challenge, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I would say almost we got these around the wrong way. If we had had this and then the propaganda, because the propaganda is quite a big act to follow, really. For what, this. At the end of the day, this is a straightforward stout, but it's got the additional characters of the almonds coming in and the granola and the sesame seeds.
Yeah, it was quite a tough call what way round to do them, because it's did you go for hops first and then the subtleness of a stout, or did you go for the stout and then finish on the big hops? And in the end, I literally went by ABV with this because this is like a full 1.8% more than the it's all propaganda. So
and there's a risk as well, because a stout with this amount of ingredients in it, you don't know what kind of character it's going to have. It could have been a really bold, thick, porridgey stout.
Look, and that would have completely destroyed our palates.
Exactly.
for the black IPA. But
yeah,
I think there are similarities between the two, which to me suggests that the BIPA was more on the side of a roasted BIPA rather than a hoppy one. This for me, there's a lot going on in there. I'm getting quite a lot of bitterness from it on the end. Very well balanced, good body in there as well. But one that probably I'm going to enjoy as we finish tonight's show, and maybe on for a little bit longer as well. It's certainly not a guzzling stout.
No. Well, while we're enjoying this, Hop Topic is no more.
No, mate, we had to put it to rest.
Yeah, Steve decided, due to it sharing a name with something someone else does, that we're going to change the name of it. So instead, we present to you Hopinions. Or Hop Onions.
Hop Onions. And I can see that you're so going to enjoy saying that every week. So not only did we change the name, but we changed the format a little this week as well. Ooh. So it wasn't a poll, and it's probably fair to say we didn't get as much of a response as a result, which is a good learning, because it means that people like the polls. So this week's question was quite simply, what UK beer would you most like to see in a can? So I picked out a few answers, quite a lot of which share their opinions. So first of all, Jack Delaney said he would like to see Arbor Owl's Osbon, and he wants to see it in a tall boy. Because proper beers deserve proper measures. There was also a lot of love for Oakham Citra being available in a can as well. Okay. So Andy Parker suggested that, as did Martin, who was on a few weeks ago, and also Clayton. They all went for Oakham Citra. Mm-hmm. By far and away the most popular suggestion, though, initially made by Dan Jargon Brew at Jargon Brewing. First of all, he said any IPA made by Colonel Brewery, because of reasons, and also Buxton Brewery for more reasons. Now, the second point was backed up by many people this week. A lot of people saying they'd love to see Axe Edge in a can. So Steve Lamond and Guzzler both said they'd like to see Axe Edge in a can. Dave Neiston said he'd like to see Battle Horse or Yellow Belly in a can, and Adam G said he'd like to see Far Skyline in a can as well. So Buxton probably proving to be one of the more popular choices, mm-hmm. as to whose beers we'd like to see in a can. And then finally, at Greg 1954 suggested Unhuman Cannonball. which I'm just going to refer him back to the special that we did. That's one beer I don't want to see in a can. Yeah. I still want that in the 660 bomber every year.
Unless they only released it in mini keg.
Mini keg or tall boy. or one of those pint, like those 2 pint fucking cans, you know, the big ones you get from America. So anyway, that was this week's opinions. Sparky, is there any particular UK beer that you're absolutely desperate to see in a can?
Well, I'd say Buxton, that's a good shout. They, possibly Halcyon, I think we've spoke about that, Steve.
Yeah, again, though, I'd have to put the proviso on that, they're only in tall boys.
Oh, yeah.
Don't ever give me 330ml of Halcyon, that's not just going to
work. Odyssey Brewing, the Hop Fiend, I'd like to see that one in it. But again, a tall boy can. Because that's another juicy banger I'd like to see in a can.
Anything else?
No, I think that'll do me for that. I'd be quite happy with that.
What about you, mate? Is there anything that you're particularly desperate to see in a can?
Well, you guys going on about Buxton, I wish I drank more Buxton beers because some of those sound amazing. I wouldn't mind Joe Purr in a can. I reckon that would come out quite nice.
That's a solid shout.
I would love it if Brew by Numbers started canning, because I'd love to be able to carry some of their saisons around wherever I wanted. And obviously, Colonel, if they started canning, I think it would just blow people's minds. But I can't see that happening.
No, I don't see that happening anytime soon.
How about you, mate?
Yeah, I'm going to probably lean towards like the big hoppy stuff that I like. So people suggesting Axe Edge, I would absolutely love to see Axe Edge in a can. I'd love, as we said though, I'd love to see Halcyon in a can as well. Not so much Oakham Citra, but Oakham Green Devil, which is kind of the big brother of Citra. That would be amazing in a can as well. And I think basically, and this is probably something that Sparky will agree with here. Anything that's big and hoppy belongs in a can.
Yes.
For me, because that's right now. That's how you get in some of the best beer in the UK. Is in nice fresh cans, cold from the fridge, easily drinkable, easily carryable. So so an interesting one this week. Thanks to everyone for getting involved in opinions. To start every time before I say that. There'll be something else along next weekend. Use the hashtag opinions to get involved in either tonight's discussion or next week's one, and we'll chat about this again.
Yeah, so which pretty picture on Instagram is taking your eye this week for the Big Box of Nothing, mate?
So the Big Box of Nothing is this week going to on Twitter. Their handle is @MillionBevs. Not sure what that translates to on Twitter. I'm sure we'll find out when I publish it later. Of a picture of an incredible looking beer. Taken what is clearly on the bar at the Northern Monk Refectory with all the metal and brass and taps behind it. It's just a stunning picture. So I'm going to find a really special box this week to send a load of nothing to Million Bevs in for that picture. It's up on our Instagram feed. It's also in the show notes. You can click through and have a look at it. If you want to have a go at entering your own picture and winning a Big Box of Nothing next week, put your picture up on Instagram, use the hashtag cheers guys, and you might very well be the winner. Just realising I should have got Sparky to have done that bit. He's won it enough times. He could have done that that little spiel there.
I did even put a picture up at the last minute. I thought, I'll try and sneak a winner out. You just ignored me. You know.
Nothing like a vanity win.
So, do we have any final comments on this all-day granola stout from Mad Dog Brewery? Sparky, let's start with you, mate.
Well, mine's gone, to be honest. It's just a really solid stout for me. It does what it says on the bottle. It's full of nutty breakfast cereal notes. There's a bit of dark fruit, a little bit of chocolate and vanilla, but nothing major. Just a solid stout for me, yeah. Yeah,
that sums up my review perfectly. How about you, Steve?
I'm just before I do, I've just gone and found Sparky's picture that he posted, and he probably should have won the prize for that, because it is incredible. It's completely like branded for tonight's show as well. And in fact, what I'm going to do, Sparky, in honour of that picture, we always put a little image up with the show every week. I'm going to use your image for it this week, because I think
Steve, it's brought a tear to my eye.
That's what I was hoping. So it's a cracking picture. So everyone will see that, because it'll be up on the show notes, and it'll be in the Twitter feed as well. Anyway, back to the beer. It's softened a little bit now. It's been in the glass. It was maybe a little bit carbonated first of all, which is probably due to the way it's been treated in the last half an hour. Going from being really cold to being really warm. It's softened. There's a lot more of the flavours coming through. Yes, I maybe would have liked a bit more nuts, a bit more sweetness from some of the fruits maybe, but it's a perfectly balanced stout, really easily drinkable, and I'm going to look forward to drinking that throughout the rest of the evening.
Very good. And what's coming up next week, buddy?
Next week, all I can reveal at the moment is who is the guest next week. I can't say what the beers are, because we don't know if we're going to get them or not. So
it's an interesting show.
It's all a bit last minute. All I can say is that next week we are welcoming back Mr. Hopzine himself, Rob Derbyshire, who will be joining us with his listener picks, which we hope to have in hand in time to be able to record for next week's show.
And next week's show will probably be a 2-hour special. Just because it's very difficult to get Rob to stop being so enthusiastic. Sparky, where can people find you online, buddy?
I'm at Sparkyrite on Twitter and Instagram, and I think I'm probably on the same on Untapped as well.
Very good. Many thanks to Ales by Mail, Beautiful Beers, Beer Merchants, eBrewer and Hop Burns and Black, who all now offer a 10% discount to Beer O'Clock Show listeners on any beers from their websites. You can find us online at beeroclockshow.co.uk, on Twitter at Beer O'Clock Show, on Instagram at Beer O'Clock Show. Steve's on Untapped at Beer Show Steve. I'm on Untapped at Beer Show Mark, and I'm on Twitter at Beer Show Mark. And we're also on Facebook now. Steve is probably pointing at his screen without me being able to see him.
I was about to jump in and say, well, you can also find us on Facebook now if that's your thing. So mostly regurgitated content from Twitter, but at the moment also going back over all the old shows, posting a podcast a day from episode 1 upwards.
Oh, well, there you go. So if you don't do Twitter and you don't do all that Instagram and stuff, get on Facebook and search for beeroclockshow.co.uk. Sparky, thank you very much. It's been far too long without you being a guest on the show.
Thanks for having me.
You're a legend, mate.
Yeah, cheers, Sparky. Thanks for coming on. It's been great to finally have you on the show, and thanks for all the support you've given us over the years as well, mate.
No problem. I enjoy you listening, lads. You do a good job.
Thank you. And go Wales in the quarterfinals.
Indeed. Yes. Come on. Let's bring it on.
Steve, until next week, buddy.
It's been the highlight of my week.
Fine. Bye-bye.